Tigerzord, power up!
Hey kiddos, thanks so much for joining me for episode 15 of Chronicles in Collecting, where we're going to take a look at the Power Rangers Legacy White Tigerzord. This is sort of a follow-up to episode 11, where we looked at the Thunder Megazord and kind of did a little bit of a primer on sort of season 2 of Power Rangers and sort of the differences between the Japanese and English versions and sort of how that came to be. I'm not going to rehash all of that, so definitely check out episode 11 if you haven't already. Going to get right into this figure in a second, but just wanted to kind of go over a few of the basics. So obviously this is the White Tigerzord. It kind of featured in season 2 of Power Rangers. I think about a few dozen episodes in. The regular Rangers got their new Zords at the very beginning of the season, which sort of led to an interesting situation because at the beginning of season 2, the kind of main 5 Rangers all had the Zords from Dairen'Oh, and Tommy was still occasionally using the Tigerzord, which was from Zyuranger. So you kind of had this situation where you could actually never really have the two swords on screen at the same time because they were coming from 2 different series in Japan that did not cross over. Then eventually Tommy does get kind of the White Ranger powers and the White Tigerzords, and then all of the Zords featured in season 2 are from Dairen'Oh, and they're able to fight together and combine and kind of all that good stuff. However, what is also interesting is that the White Ranger is from Dairen'Oh, while the other 5 Ranger sort of suits are from Zyuranger. So you kind of again have this combination of, even when all the Zords are the same, you have this combination of you have Rangers from different shows. And obviously through editing, that's much easier to deal with because they could just, show whatever, whoever you want to show in the cockpit. So that's cool. Also, just kind of some specifics on this figure. So this came out in 2015. It retailed for about $80. I picked it up earlier this year for about $200. So, 2.5 times retail. The price has gone up a little bit since then. I'm kind of seeing them on eBay between $200 and $300. Kind of alternatively, there's a Japanese line called Super Sentai Artisan, where they basically, my understanding is they kind of take the original molds from the older figures from like the early 90s and, use the same mold but do more like paint instead of stickers, and they do a little bit more metal instead of plastic to kind of create an overall nicer figure. Obviously, I was kind of debating between either the Super Sentai Artisan or the Power Rangers Legacy. I went with the Power Rangers Legacy. The Super Sentai Artisan are just a little bigger, I think maybe just because of the sort of, transforming technology at the time. They just had to be bigger to make everything work. I don't know exactly why they were all bigger. When I say bigger, I don't necessarily mean taller, just sort of like buffer and maybe not quite as screen sort of screen accurate. So that's sort of why I went with those. Also, I had gotten a pretty good deal on the Thunder Megazord, so I figured I would just get the White Tigerzord to match. I would say whatever line you decide to get, I would, obviously make sure you get them to match so that you could do the combinations and stuff like that. What's cool about all the Legacy figures is that they all use Zord Builder, so you can kind of combine different ones from different series. I can't quite do that because I have some Soul of Chogokin and some Legacy stuff, but I can at least combine the White Tigerzord with the Thunder Megazord, and I guess you might be able to do something with the Ninja Megazord as well, so that could be cool. I'm not going to really harp too much on Super Sentai versus Power Rangers Legacy and which one's better. I don't think that there's like a definitive best version. I think it's just a combination of, sort of price and features and what you remember. The Super Sentai Artisan version, I think, does do some like lighting up and maybe make some noises, which I believe the old 90s figures did. So that's, also kind of a cool aspect of that figure as well. As far as what else is sort of currently available, there's really not much. Both the Legacy and Super Sentai are out of print and have been out of print for some time. Bandai lost the license to release Power Rangers figures in the US. And now Hasbro is. I think there's probably a pretty good chance that Hasbro will make the Season 2 Power Rangers figures, probably just a matter of time. Based on the stuff they've done so far, probably won't be as nice as the Legacy stuff, certainly not as nice as Soul of Chogokin, and not as nice as Super Sentai Artisan, but probably a lot cheaper. So there's that. I also saw that there's a company that released like a really cool sort of like statue. It was kind of a posable figure of the Thunder Megazord. It didn't transform or anything like that, but it did have a lot of cool poses and had some nice detailing. So it's possible that there might be a figure like that for the White Tigerzord. If transforming and combining is something that's important to you, then obviously you're probably going to want to stick with the Legacy or the Super Sentai Artisan, or I guess you get the originals from the 90s. Not a big, obviously those were cool. I had them as a kid and I love them, and I certainly would not say anything poorly about someone who keeps those on their shelves. But the Legacy and the Super Sentai Artisan, they don't have like all those stickers you had to get on and that would fall off. They have paint, they have more die cast, better detailing, and just sort of all around just nicer product, obviously a more premium feel. Anyway, with all that being said, let's get into opening this up. So the Tigerzord has two modes. Obviously, one is a tiger, and one is kind of like the warrior mode. I should also mention that the Japanese version of this is called the Wan Tiger, which I think is a pretty cool name. Tigerzord has its charm, but Wan Tiger sounds pretty cool too. Oh, this is promising. Look at this. Is this only a one-sided instruction booklet? Oh my goodness, this might be so simple, even I could do it. And actually, so what was kind of funny about this figure is that when it came out before the Thunder Megazord, so you could not actually so it had the ability to combine, but nothing to combine with. So actually, if you look at the instructions here, if you look closely, it's actually showing it combining with the the saber-toothed tiger and Billy Zord, which is escaping me at the moment. So combining it with the Season 1 Power Rangers figures, which obviously was something that never happened in the show, but it's just sort of funny. For some reason, I don't really know why the White Tigerzord came out before the Thunder Megazord. Fortunately, they made them all compatible, so it kind of worked out. So here's the sword. A little disappointed in the sword. It's kind of a cheap, plasticky looking thing. The weapons that came with the Thunder Megazord were nice. They were chrome. They looked really cool. This doesn't look great. There are some sites that do like aftermarket parts, so they'll paint it in chrome or something like that. There's also some people online that you could buy like the Super Sentai Artisan version that I believe for this actually looked a little bit nicer. And depending on the hands, yeah, this one has like an adjustable hand. It doesn't just have to like kind of fit in the peg. So you could buy a nicer weapon, just for posing purposes. Or if you're feeling ambitious, you could paint it yourself, which I'm not. So not much here, pretty bare bones. You got the figure, you got the sword, and that's about it. I don't think there's anything in here. I'm gonna check real quickly. I think that this is just, there's some tape on here, but I don't think it's just holding this cardboard in place. All right, so let's check this guy out. Obviously, when I was a kid, the Green Ranger was my favorite. But when the White Ranger showed up, I was also a really big fan. So I'm just going to take a quick look at this figure and see what we're working with. It's nice. It reminds me of the figure that I had when I was a kid, but it's just taken up a notch. Again, you just kind of got the nice detailing. You got the paint. I don't have to put these like stupid stickers on, and by that I mean ask my mom to do it. Yeah, just nice. Quality control's pretty nice, a little paint off here and there, but otherwise pretty solid figure. Nice detailing on the paws and stuff like that. I'm gonna take a stab at trying to transform it into its tiger. If it's taking too long, then I will just I'll just hit pause and I'll do it and show you guys when I'm done. So let's see. So we got these arm things. So we got this arm thing like that. This comes down. I think somehow his hands move out of the way or something. It's a very nice, sort of satisfying click. Like that. Now it's showing it different. You gotta pull this out or something. Somehow you gotta get this hand clear. All right, I'm gonna hit pause for a second and transform this guy into the tiger form, and then I will join you back in a minute. All right, and we are back. So it's a pretty simple transformation once I kind of read the instructions a little bit more closely, just sort of how to move the hands in the right way. It's probably a little too big to put on the revolving stand, so I'll just kind of do it the old-fashioned way. You see the sword kind of plugs back in for the tail. It's pretty simple transformation, a pretty straightforward figure, like that. And the mouth closes and opens. So yeah, not really a whole ton to this figure. You kind of get what you pay for, or I guess what you would have paid for at retail. At $80, doesn't need to do anything like super, amazing. So the transforming part is pretty simple. I'm going to back. So it's actually fairly easy to transform him into combined form. So you basically just the legs kind of come off like, or not come off, but they clip on over there. The only thing that's annoying is that you actually have to take off the feet, and you kind of got to get the pegs out, which is, I don't know, always makes me feel like I'm going to break something. And then the shoulder pads reveal those are the Zord Builder ports for these guys. So this just clicks in over there. And just make this fist. And then this clicks in over here. Okay. Put this guy down for half a second. Now again, just like I had mentioned, where the feet have to come off of the Tigerzord, the same thing, these little like knee pad things, these also have to come off. So you kind of go like, nope, wrong way. Kind of go like this, and they sort of click out of place. But again, I just don't like doing stuff like that. It just makes me feel like it's going to break, especially when you're, talking about figures that are, they're expensive. I'm like $400 in on this. All right, and then that exposes the Zord Builder ports over there. I think, yeah, that mostly just plugs right in. Oops, or not. I think you got to go in from the side or something like that. All right, there's one. There's two. Comes like that. All right, you got that. Put his sword in his hand. Yeah, I think it opens up. This guy in there, like that. Has a pretty tight fit on the hand. Let's throw him up on here. This thing looks cool. This is one of my favorite transformations because it just looks so Japanese. Like, I feel like the original Megazord, and even though the Dragonzord is basically Godzilla, They still kind of looked American, the way that they had the lines and just the way that they were constructed. But this just looks like the helmet and the symbols. It just looks so much more ethnic than some of the other stuff that we were getting at that time, which is why I love that, just as a kid, like in the 90s, I had one of these and I was like, yeah, this is cool. I didn't even really think about it being from, another country or something like that. You can also use the this guy as kind of the shield, like in the show. There's another little doohickey, I think, that you put in his hand that he holds onto it, and it wraps around to kind of get the complete thing. But yeah, this is a cool one. It's this was not too hard to pose. It took me just kind of a few minutes. Like I said, I don't like the fact that you have to take these out, but we'll see. We'll see if my opinion, how I feel about that after I ideally get them back on. And this is also my first experience with Zord Builder. I think you gotta do it on an angle. It actually did say that in the instruction booklet. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'm gonna keep this posed in the warrior mode. This way I can have the Thunder Megazord built completely. There we go. That one's coming out. And that one is still not coming out just quite properly. Oh boy. Looks like the Zord Builder port is kind of... Oh, there we go. Okay, nope. We are all good. I mean, this was an $80 figure when it came out. It really doesn't feel like a super premium figure. It does not feel like my Soul of Chogokin Dragonzord or anything like that. But it's still a nice figure. I think 200, which again, which is what I paid, and the going rate is even more than that now. I think that's kind of pushing it for this figure, but if that's what you want, that's what you gotta do. So yeah, that's all right, and we are back. So you see here, we kind of got the whole crew. We got the Mega Thunderzord Power Rangers Legacy. We got the White Tigerzord Power Rangers Legacy, and we have the Dragonzord / Dragon Caesar Soul of Chogokin. I had said incorrectly in a previous video that the Dragonzord and the Thunder Megazord were supposed to be the same size. That is incorrect. I was looking at the width of the Dragonzord, not the height. The Dragonzord is supposed to be 38 meters, the Thunder Megazord is supposed to be 62 meters, and the Tigerzord is 46.5 meters. I'm sure these are not precisely to scale, but they, the one that's supposed to be taller is the tallest, the one that's supposed to be shorter is the shortest, so that's good. Actually, what's also interesting, at least according to the Power Rangers wiki, which I was using for height information, is that the Thunder Megazord is 62 meters, but the Dairen'Oh, I'm sure I mispronounced that, which is the Japanese equivalent of that, that's actually 54 meters. So it's just sort of I'm sure that it said it in somewhere or another. So, the scaling could be all kinds of mixed up between the US and the Japanese figures. Let me throw this guy onto the rotating stand, and I'll set that to rotate for a minute while I sort of give just my closing thoughts on the White Tigerzord, just sort of the Power Rangers Legacy line in general, and all that. So let's put that guy here. I think it should stay. Oh. There we go. Thought the battery had died. So, the Soul of Chogokin is a real premium figure line. When you pick it up, you feel it. You see the die cast. It's really high quality. These Power Rangers Legacy figures, they're not on the same level, in my opinion. They scuff a little bit. They're plastic. When you take a part out, it kind of, it kind of looks like maybe you took it out. They're still really nice. I think at $280, these are easy buys. Obviously, they're a lot more money than that right now. I think that if you absolutely love these characters and you want something nice, that at least, when you look at it, when you have it on your shelf next to the Soul of Chogokin stuff or some of the higher end stuff, it'll still look nice. And if you have all Power Rangers Legacy, then everything will match and it'll look great. But do keep in mind that if you're used to buying kind of the more Japanese, high quality, premium figures, that the Legacy line is not quite as nice as those. It's not as nice as those. It's a lot more plasticky, not really a lot of die cast, though the painting and the detailing is nice. So yeah, again, final verdict: the closer you can get these to MSRP, the more likely I am to say that you should buy it. And if you love these characters, I don't think you're going to be unhappy with these on your shelf. And if you do have some of the Soul of Chogokin stuff, I think that when you have them side by, if you're not like doing a thorough inspection, they look good when you have them, on your display shelf or out. They look cool, but keep in mind that when you're using them, they might scuff. It's going to be a little bit different. One thing that I did want to mention, and you probably missed me having a minor heart attack when I was in between takes here, but that these two knee pad things that you have to take off, they're not the same. So I went to put one in, it didn't fit at all, and I was like, oh my god, I broke it, but it actually was fine. Just it won't fit, and once you figure out the right one, it easily fit. Looks like this thing did run out of battery. Getting the feet back onto this were no problem at all. So the fact that you have to take stuff off to transform is annoying, but it was easy enough to get back on. I don't know if you're constantly transforming over time, if it will eventually break or something like that. It's not something that I would want to do regularly, but if you're just gonna transform it once or twice just to pose it and try out some different poses, I think that should probably be fine. Let me at least have him face everybody. So yeah, that is Power Rangers Legacy White Tigerzord. Thanks so much for checking out this video. As you hopefully know, I put up new videos every Wednesday, and please join me next week where we're going to go to the Robot Spirits MSN06S Zaku 2 Char's custom model. Get that a little bit higher here. And do a little bit of discussion about the regular Zaku versus the Char Zaku, and maybe how he got the reputation for being 3 times faster than a normal Zaku. Thanks so much, and keep collecting.